Well, it is now January 9th. It is 2024, and we are back in business. Now, hopefully we never left, but there's a little bit of reality. I know a lot of people take time off over the holidays. So if that was you, hopefully you've been able to earn that time off and you are back at it. Look, there's only 51 weeks left this year. And we all know how fast 2023 flew by. So we are going to be kicking off our now Tuesday deep dives. So once a month, second Tuesday, put it in your calendar, count on it. Second Tuesday of every month at noon will be a deep dive. And we're going to focus the first 4 or 5 months will be on lead generation. Obvious, we don't have to worry about too much other if we don't have leads. So what are we going to do to be able to hit that? Today, we have brought in, I'm hoping, 4 superstars. One of them let me know this morning, things come up. So she has a deal that is supposed to close. And when they did her walkthrough yesterday, things weren't the way it was supposed to be. So she's handling that, but hoping she can jump on. And if so, it's going to be from her car. That would be Karina Ball out of our Shelby Township office. I just told her, I said, anytime during the hour, jump on with us. But let me get who I can see is online. So Miss Deb, you are in our upper left-hand corner on my screen. So I'm going to have you start out and just kind of introduce yourself so people can get an idea as to what's going on for you.
Sure. Okay. Hi, Darwin. Hi, everyone. Darwin asked me to speak about lead sources, and that's been a passion of mine for our office and trying to help the agents. So I'm tapping into some of the things that I've done through the years, and I'm going to share some of that with you. Is that fine?
And Deb, how long has it been for you in the business?
Got licensed in 1990, been back full-time for about 17 years.
And she's got a background at every level of real estate. So on top of being she is co-branch manager of the Lake Orion office. So in your production, if I remember right, you're up around 7 million.
So I fell short of 6 this year.
Oh,
So I was too busy managing.
doggone office management gets in the way.
Yeah.
Let me jump over to Janelle Ainsworth. Janelle's out of our Port Huron office. So Janelle, if you can kind of give everybody a little introduction to you.
Hi, so I've been in the business. This is going to be my 4th year going in. So, basically, work at the Port Huron office. I'm like trying to think, what do we want me to say? So my first year in the business did 5 million. Last year did 9.2. And then in 2022 and then 2023 just did 8.2 million. So, I kind of dibble and dabble in all my lead sources in different ways.
So I think there's a key that I want you guys to know regarding Janelle. She's a rookie, right? So 2024 is year 4 or 5 for you.
4.
So guys, listen to the numbers that she's done. So if you're brand new in this business, if you're looking to get restarted, here's a lady to be able to listen to what she's done and how she's got there. Also, from our Clarkston office is Miss Michelle Geiger. So you can give yourself a little introduction there.
Hi, I'm Michelle Geiger. I'm at the District Attorney 1 Town and Country in Clarkston. I've been a realtor for about 7 years. I closed my year just over 6 million, and my biggest year was just shy of 12.
So again, I call her a rookie, and this is the aspect of, something some of you have heard me say before, always be green and growing, for once you ripen, you rot, right? So Michelle is a great one for that. And our 4th panelist today, yay. So Karina, I told everybody that we might not see you until later on, but not only we get to see you, but it looks like you got back home to be able to jump on with us.
Thank God. I had a
Here's the deal. Is the deal coming together?
deal is closing at 2:00.
Ooh, touchdown. All right. So we're just doing a quick introduction, Karina, if you want to do that for us.
Karina Ball from Century 21 Town and Country in Shelby. I've been in the business since 1995, full-time agent, never, not a pause, anything, just hung in this crazy game since then. Raised a family through all of this, went through the crash, went through COVID, and closed 10 million last year. Yeah, and lead gen is always important to me. I don't rely just on my repeat and referral business. It is predominantly my business. I'd say 90%. But last year, 5 of my deals came from brand new people that were not referred to me through my lead gen.
So then you give me a perfect opportunity to expand upon what we want to discuss today. So is we mentioned the first 4 months, we want to focus toward lead generation. And today it's just best practices. So with what we've got with these 4 is an opportunity to be able to hear what they're doing, but know this. The best way to get the most out of this is to be involved. So I want these 4 to be the stars, and they can answer any question that you can bring to them. So feel free to just come in at the appropriate time and be able to answer or ask any question. So Janelle, let's start with you. Let's hit a best practice. What's one of your primary lead sources, best practices for lead generation?
So majority of my business is referral based and then my sphere, but honestly, like I focus so much on like my listings. So like people call in all the time, right? And a lot of times I handle right off the bat, like I will never give information until I ask for like their first and last name. And some people will like be like, oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, or like they won't give it to you, but I'll ask again until I have it. And then I'll start sharing information with them. I'll get their phone number, all their stuff. I always ask if they're working with an agent, because I never want to step on someone else's toes. And so based off that, I build my relationship over the phone with them pretty much, or meeting them and going to show them the property. And then from there, I'm like, let me set you up on alerts. What can I do for you? How can I help? And it's really just going like the extra mile and like acting like you care, because a couple days ago, I had a client call. He told me he was working with 5 other agents. And all I did was call him back the next day with very easy information. To me, it was easy. It was quick to find. And he like appreciated that so much. And now we're working together to help him find something. And he's
Well,
like,
can I, Janelle, if it's the right time, I want to clarify something because I think you hit something that's really simple. First thing you did is you went out and got a listing, and then people started calling you about it.
Mhm.
And when they call you about it, you really work to get a name and a phone number, or it sounds like a name and an email address, but primarily name and phone number.
Yeah.
What do you do then? I want, because there's a real important part here that I know from doing some coaching out there. What do you do with it once you have that name and phone number?
So I basically build my rapport with the phone, but setting them up on alerts, finding exactly what they're looking for, and then following up. Like it's as simple as that. It's just to follow up with people. People want to feel important. They're there. You're there to help them. They are hiring you for a service, and you need them to know that you're the best for the job and that you're going to take care of them.
And you really nailed it. You hit, by the way, we haven't, you guys, this is open discussion with this. I've only given them what the subject matter is, but Janelle just nailed it with the aspect of it's really simple after that. It's just follow up. Guys,
There's so
don't,
many things that can
it's so
come.
simple. Don't lose the importance of that. Go ahead, Janelle.
I would say there's so many things that can come from just someone calling on a listing too, because most people have to sell their house also. So then you get a seller on top of that. Yesterday, I had someone call about new construction, some lots. I was literally called me same day, went out there same day, met him, walked him through one of our customs to just show the quality that we're doing. And then basically setting him up on alerts, and he's getting his house ready but doesn't have an agent to sell it. And then I'm gonna go meet him and look at his house and basically give him a free analysis, and hopefully with just building a rapport, be able to sell his house and then sell him a lot and help him build his house too.
Wow. So again, guys, it leads to not only getting listings, because listings will get you buyers, but listings will get you other listings. And here's another one that you brought out of this. Buyers are listings.
Mhm.
Buyers are listings. More often than not, it's surprising how often a buyer needs to sell. So just a great deal out of just, and Janelle, we just hit one thing for you right now. So hold that. I'm gonna jump because Karina, she brought up the bigger percentage of hers is her sphere of influence. And I know that's really your business also, but at the same point, you've got other business from other sources.
I did, and I want to just really blow up what Janelle said in regards to building rapport. I just talked to one of my mentees this morning, and she has been talking to someone that was an old neighbor of hers. This neighbor saw her on Facebook that she was a real estate agent and called her and said, I might be thinking about selling my house, but I have some updates to do. So I said, well, when's the appointment? And she's like, well, I'm going to wait till she does the updates. No, you're not. You're going to go there and you're going to tell her what updates she should do that will give her the biggest bang for the buck. So she had a conversation with her, 2 hours on the phone. Chatty Cathy, this lady, she's, a lonely lady. She just lost her husband last year, found out she had a fire in her house, a small kitchen fire. She has $100,000 to spend on whatever renovation she can before she sells her house.
Wow.
I'm like, sweet Jesus, get to her house and tell her what to do. So it's rapport. It's just building rapport. Now, if she would have just said, oh, this girl's not going to sell her house for a while, she's going to do an update, it's going to take 6 months, where would she be? Some other agent's going to swipe her up, or she's going to get this renovation done. The guy that's going to do the renovation is going to know an agent, because everybody knows how many agents in their life? 10. Are they all working? No. It's about building rapport. The deals that I got last year that weren't part of my sphere or referral were from Google. You guys, Google is a gold mine. Get those Google reviews from your past clients and customers. And the other thing that this mentee did is she used to work in the party planning industry. I said, well, you have customers in party planning, right? Yeah. Get reviews from them. It doesn't matter. If you look at most of your Google reviews, nothing in there says anything about how they bought their house, how they sold their house. It's about the service you gave them during the process, right? So what does it matter if that Google review has something about this party planning that they did? She was great. She was communicative. She was always there. She took all our calls. That could relate to real estate too. So
It
get the
reminds
reviews
me.
wherever you can find them. They don't always have to be real estate related if you're new, because I get that all the time. Well, I'm new. I don't have listings. I don't have sales to fall back on. Use your company's listings. If a new agent wants to explode my listing, go for it. You're just putting it out there to more people. I would never say no. But guess who's asking me to explode my listings? Other companies. Why aren't we doing that? Every new agent out there should be asking seasoned agents, hey, can I put your listing on my Facebook? Can I put your listing on my Instagram? Can I go tour your listing? I know Jen Clancy's doing it. Dawn Hendricks is her coach. She's blowing up Dawn's listings. She's collaborating with her lender. She's doing Facebook ads with a lender as somebody that, guess who's paying for those ads? Her lender. I would bet money on that.
Wow.
So collaborate with the people that are around you, the professionals. Get in touch with those home inspectors. Get in touch with the lender that you like. Get in touch with your title companies and go to classes. Make sure that you're out there. I have my new agents go look at houses. Doesn't mean you always have to have somebody with you. Check them out. Learn what a lockbox looks like.
Yeah, it's called an agent preview. And
Yeah.
you know, you brought up a couple of things that I want to go back to Google. Consume, let me rephrase, market yourself the way that you consume. So guys, think of yourself. You want to go to a restaurant and you want to go somewhere different, or you're in some place you've not been before. What do we look for? What's their star ratings? What is others saying about this place? Well, you need to do the same thing with your real estate business, because that's what people are going to do. And yeah, you brand new, I love it. Go talk to the other agents and put it out there. You know, get their permission. Rare agent that's going to say, no, don't do that. Okay. One of the things that Bob will give us in regards to increasing SEO. And Janelle, I think you're doing this, at least within your office. And then Michelle, I want to come to you next. But Janelle, isn't that something that you guys in Port Huron do, like weekly, or is it promoted about marketing other people's properties on your website or on social?
We do. So one thing off of Google I want to talk about is, so when we used to have Zap, like the reviews would go there, and then now you have to have Google, like they go through Google reviews, but every single person should have a Google My Business set up. And then once, I believe it's 13, but once you hit, sorry about that, once you hit 13 or more, I believe, Google reviews, you go to the very top, like your name, and the more and more reviews you keep having, the more higher up you get versus other realtors on Google when they search like realtors in this area. And then honestly, what I do is I copy the link from Google My Business. I keep it in my notes. So, and then after a closing, I just text my client later and I'm just like, hey, by the way, when you get time, if you could just write a review, I'd really appreciate it. And honestly, every new listing, every new buyer, I have like 3-4 pages of like reviews that I just hand to show people like, this is what you get. And in the last 2 weeks, I've gotten from people Googling like new construction, or just like, you got to make sure your stuff is like on track. And I just like added a new construction page to our website. And then I got someone by finding that. So it must have worked somehow, which is great. So, because you can customize and build pages on our website too. And it clearly works because I just did it.
Yeah, I got to tell you, there's, you know, build the website and build the SEO. And Steve gave you the basics of what we were referring to in the chat session. So look to that. There's some simple pieces that are in there. Michelle, let's bring it over to you. So what would be the first part that you would throw out for lead generation that you do? You're still on mute, dear.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
I saw you were distracted. Don't let them do that to you no more. So just what would you share as far as lead generation? Couple of things that you do.
So I agree with what everybody said too about the reviews. I think that's huge to build the rapport on the back end to get new clients when people are looking for you. But for me, I think your sphere of influence is huge, because that's really going to give people that you want to work with and get, you know, the crazy transactions to not happen, is to work with people that you like to work with and that you've worked with in the past. Videos has been successful for me since I've started doing that. I've really been only doing that since May of this year, and have gotten a couple leads from that, people that I've known, worked with in the past, and didn't realize I was a realtor because I wasn't posting enough about it. And so I think video is huge, getting
So,
out there.
what,
People feel like they
Michelle?
know you. Can you?
I would love for you to dive a little bit deeper on that, because not just videos, I see the stuff that you do. Can you expand on what your doing videos really is?
So doing videos, my goal this year is going to be at least 4 videos a week. And it's a combination of not just, you know, showing my successes of pendings and closings, but, you know, educational videos, buyer videos. I like to tell stories. Like, I have a video I'm posting today about getting 2 people under contract in the past 2 weeks, and first offer they ever wrote, and just going in strong and just being that aggressive agent right from the gate, you know, right out of the gates on it. So, what else for my videos? Yeah, I think a lot of just the mix of education, silly videos. I get the most hits off my you know, blooper reels and things like that. But I just think being in front of the camera and mostly being professional and throwing a couple silly things in there, people start to really, I mean, every time I see people I haven't seen in a while, they're like, I love your videos, you know, so it's, I don't realize how many people are watching them, but
I
they are.
still remember the one that you were out prospecting and it was like right before 6 o'clock and it was obviously, I'll call it dark at that point.
Yep.
What were you doing when you did that video?
I was door knocking for sale by owners, and I did my last one and it was a little spooky walking back to my car, and I was like, I think that's a wrap on the door knocking, looking like a creeper in the middle of the night. So, but yeah, I think door knocking is huge too. It's just, especially if you're on social media, I'm doing a campaign now for some luxury neighborhoods and I'm going to try to hit this year and send out a blast email to them with my video and then hit their doors with a flyer with a QR code on it that'll bring them back to my video, just so that way it keeps just bringing me top of mind for them. So
Awesome.
door
Awesome.
knocking is gonna be my new thing.
So let me jump over to Deb real quick. Deb, you know, we've got a longer history, and I will tell you that Deb is always recognizing the one aspect, well, two actually. One that yes, we should, if we're really going to control our business, do active prospecting. But she's also looked for all of the, what can I do to get the telephone to ring in my office? So Deb, let's talk about one or two of those ideas that, you know, what have you used? What's primary?
Okay, so when I came to Coldwell Banker, I brought with me OpCity, which was new. I was one of the first agents to get into it, which is now realtor.com. And, you know, are all the leads great? No, they're not. But it is one drip, you know, one funnel. And from that, I learned that you don't have to pay for those leads. You pay, you know, at the closing. So, you know, if you don't have money up front, that's ideal. Unfortunately, they went from, let's say, 25% as high as 40% on a referral fee. So you can pick and select, but it's a little harder to get in onto some of these platforms. Another one is Redfin. I'm a Redfin partner agent, and you know, longevity is good. It's another source. Those are buyer sources primarily. Seller sources are like UpNest and Fast Expert. I've gotten leads from both of those, but I'm always looking at the latest and greatest, and I would caution anybody that's doing this that if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah. So, hey, Deb, let's hit a couple of primary notes because I think you gave a couple of sources. So one is OpCity, which is now realtor.com. And it's a lead source that you really have to earn your way to. Is that right?
Well, I got a call from them recently and they said that they're not accepting new agents. So I don't know what the status is, but as a manager, I have the ability to see all the agents and invite agents in to the platform. Now, I haven't done it recently, but all of the managers of each office should be able to do that. And I do that with the agents here if that's what they want to do. But again, depending on the agent's expectations, when I started, I would take any lead, just because the more business you get, the more business it drives, to what Janelle was saying. You know, you got to start somewhere. And yeah, if you have to sacrifice some, you know, as a referral fee, you have to do that. But once you get, if you're managing your CRM, and how I do that is through RealComp. I set up auto emails. All these buyers I capture, I try to get them to agree to allow me to send them listings if they're, you know, not ready to buy. And that's how I capture them. And then you can put that in Moxie or whatever else you want to do. But
well, there's another follow-up.
Exactly.
Leads,
and that's
aren't any good unless if you follow up.
Right. And that's been key, because at any given time I can see every morning, I can look and see who's looking at homes. That's a phone call. That's a reason to call someone right there. So
wow. You know what, Deb, that's still so simple. We got to highlight that.
Yeah.
So you're saying you're going in the MLS with your auto emails, and you're saying that when you see somebody open it up and looked, you're just giving them a call.
Yeah, I mean, that's a reason. Yeah, and more than that, I have a lot of those clients emailed, you know, I see what they're seeing. First thing in the morning, every morning I look at what my clients are seeing. And that gives me a reason to make sure I'm following up And, oh, did you see this house? You did, or I just assumed, hey, let's go see this house, whatever the conversation is. But that's huge on the buyer side. Now I know we want to focus on listings, so I
Right?
had a couple of things to add to that.
Yeah. Well, before you move to it, just real quick, what were the two others? You mentioned two other lead source.
Those are seller leads.
Okay.
So yeah, because occasionally Redfin will give you seller leads, but they're rare. In the years I've been doing it, you just don't get them very often. Yes, buyers can be sellers. That does happen. But not always. And you know, as you get experience, you will learn to weed them out. Like Janelle was saying, get information up front. But when you get a hot or warm lead from City or Redfin, they actually call you. You have the option to connect with that client. You have to be in your mind ready to know whether you're, and this may be for another, session, but how you're going to manage that, because they may want to see something right away. And if you start off with, oh, do you have a pre-approval? That could just kill the deal right there. Okay. But yeah, you got to get that. So how you handle this is another conversation.
Cool.
So, but the seller side leads, is that what you wanted to know?
Yeah. What I think everybody loves a listing lead. What would you share there?
Yeah, listings. Okay. So, I've been successfully using UpNest. You have to put your profile up there, and also the other one is Fast Expert. I've gotten leads off of that as well. And they just come to you randomly. It's so nice. You'll be like doing something and you're like, oh, look, I got a lead, but you have to have an amazing profile out there, one that's selling. And to what Janelle said, you need to have reviews to back it up, however that looks, because people will not do business unless they're confident that you have the credentials that they're looking for in this, because there's so many agents to pick from.
Absolutely. So it kind of brings up another thought. And I'll let any of you jump in on this one, the aspect of buying leads. If you know that term, do we want to pay Zillow for a zip code or any of the others that always come along with these amazing deals?
Can I speak to that real quick?
You're on, boss.
Okay, so I spoke to another agent who works for Anthony Jean, and their brokerage buys and I'm telling you, he said $50,000 worth of Zillow leads a month. Can we compete with that? Probably not. Okay, so there's a thought.
Interesting.
So, the best leads are going there, and if you buy a zip code, I don't think it's the best use of your money. I'm currently vetting out, it's called Real Geeks. And so far, I think that's the best. And I've been spending this last month vetting out new lead sources. So
good. Cool. Other input on the aspect of buying leads? Do any of the four of you buy leads?
So I think I'm not a lead buyer. I've never am going to buy leads. I think so. When I started, obviously I was working full time and I needed to save as much money as possible to have life take over. And I realized social media is so free. And there's so many ways to utilize social media, exactly what Michelle said, stories, putting yourself out there, and it interacts with people that you don't even really realize that kind of know you, but trust you from that. It's building, I use my social media as building trust with, I guess, my audience to know hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm taking care of everybody. And then also the groups, we have so many Facebook groups that I put comments on, and I put links to my reviews. I put my business card and screenshot it from what I made on Canva on those when people are oh, looking for a realtor, this and that. Or so yesterday I had 3 calls set up because people commented on my new listing and they're oh, this is cute, but I interact with them. So I want to talk to them. And one girl was I don't think I can afford this, or, I don't make this, but I want to buy my first house. And I was you know what? I messaged her. I'm let's set up a call. I feel I can help you. And I had someone else call too. And I set up 3 calls in a row, told them all about these down payment programs. They told me what was going on, and I just guided them and helped them. And they were just thank you so much. No one's been able to genuinely, no one has cared enough to help. And whether they can buy right now or not, it doesn't matter because eventually they will. And they're gonna remember me and I'm gonna still stay in touch with them and be like, hey, how's that credit card debt going on? Or hey, how's this going? And I'm still getting them in touch with my lenders to introduce themselves so they know that we're not here trying to take your money. We are here to help you. As
Wow.
an
Isn't that what social media is all about? It's conversation, right? You put comments out there, and if you don't want to socialize, then this is probably not the right business, but you have to put yourself out there. And I agree with Janelle. You know, you do have to comment on people's stuff. You know, you're scrolling through and you see something, you're like, oh, I look, they just got a new dog. Congratulations. Well, follow it up. Send them a dog toy. Congratulations, you got a new dog. Or if you don't want to send it, drop it by. They usually have Ring cameras. They'll see you. You can wave. Congratulations on your puppy. Things like that. It's all about connecting and communicating. And I think that a lot of times we as agents, and I mean, I feel like some of the conversation we have is geared to agents that have been in the business for a while, but we have to also be cognizant of new agents. There's not a big budget there, and there doesn't have to be. Social media is free. We can comment and we can put out videos. Michelle's videos are amazing. Like, that is what gets people out there to connect with you. Like, oh my gosh, I love Michelle's personality. She'd be so much fun to work with. Or Janelle's so awesome. She's all over the place. Or, you know, Deb's always out there. Like, she knows everything. That's how people connect to you. Are we all going to be agents for everybody we meet? No way. There are people that Michelle probably works with that I could never work with. Our personalities are different. Doesn't mean one's going to do better than the other. You just have to put yourself out there. I'm a big proponent on consistency. I made the mistake last year of I was on videos, doing videos. Then I got really busy, and guess what? Stopped. And now I'm like, oh, I got to do videos again. And it's so different than it was even from 6 months ago, right? So now it's got to be different content, different ways to talk to people. So I got to get back into that. I've been sending postcards out to consistently 400 people since 2000. That was when my budget was enough to be doing it. So for 23 years, every single month, these people get a postcard. And that is who consistently knows I'm in the business, right? And that's where I get my repeat and referral business from that, and from my gifting and never eating alone. I never eat lunch alone. Never. I'm not trying to sell myself a house. I need to help other people find a home. So,
The,
you know,
the
talk to your
aspect
servers.
of the term has become known as break bread.
Yeah,
How many
breaking
people do
bread.
you break bread with every week?
I try to take December off to break bread. This year, I wasn't able to do it. I sold 5 houses in December. I'm not complaining about that, but my breaking bread started in November because I knew December was going to get crazy. And I broke bread with 103 people from Thanksgiving to Christmas. That's a lot of breaking bread.
Wow. So, you know what?
So-
Here's a question, because Karina, you brought up the aspect of the budget. Now, I got to tell you, when I was producing full time, I didn't have a budget. My mind didn't process that way. I just knew what I was doing in regards to a marketing plan. But I know, Karina, you're very creative, and like what you were talking about, you listen, and then there's a little gift that you'll do. But I guess right now, from an aspect of budget, ladies, if you know the number or even an idea, but what percent of your paid commissions that you receive goes toward, say, marketing, promotion, special gifts, things of that nature? Any idea?
30%.
Did I hear that right?
30%.
30%, guys. 30% for her,
Yeah.
which is a lot when you think about your sales. But then again, if I have 70% left over, that's a pretty good standard of living.
And I'd rather spend 30% on my marketing budget and my gifting budget than give 30% away on a deal.
And that's what I was just going to say. So you made the point. Any of us would be happy to give 25 to 35, 40% referral fee, why wouldn't we invest even 10%? And that's the number I know that Jeremy Wolfram, who's taking over our marketing. If you go back, one of our hot topics, we had Jeremy on, and he said 10% is a standard number for marketing in a corporation. We need to look at ourselves as a business. And so, great point. Janelle, Deb?
Karina, is that then that 30% all tax, you can write that off on your taxes?
Yep,
Is that why you press it up to 30%?
yes.
I mean, are you basically zero taxes at the end of the year?
Not zero. That would be nice.
No doubt. Yeah, if you
but
don't
I-
pay taxes, you're probably going to jail at some point.
Yeah,
I'm not going to jail.
yeah, no, I say 30% of, it's hard to, yeah. Not gonna
It's
go
just,
Yeah, I'm
go ahead,
at,
Janelle.
But so here's one of the big things that I use. I make sure that my gift is combined with my marketing. One of the big things I spent a lot of money on this year was Cutco knives. You buy the spreaders. Thanks for spreading the word to your referrals. I know people are like, oh, I'm not giving away a knife. You can't believe how many people love those things. And then thanks for spreading the word. Well, the knife is a gift. And the marketing is a gift. So the knife and the marketing, that's a double whammy, right? So be creative in your gifting. They say, oh, you can only spend $25 on a gift. I would be embarrassed to spend $25 on a gift.
Let me hit why you can do that. When it's branded, it is marketing. So if you're going to just give a gift, yes, $25 is the maximum that you can do. We know that from our last deep dive in December. We had Kevin, our CPA, in to share with us. But when it's branded like the Cutco knives, it is fully tax deductible.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Janelle, Michelle, would you add to that? As far as marketing, do you know the percentage that you do? Do you have that budget?
mine's about 30% as well. And then I do like closing baskets. So I market myself through my baskets. So they're my closing gifts, but also I get business from that because it's a
Janelle, you got to tell what you do when you put those together, because I've seen a few of your videos on that.
People probably think I'm nuts at the store, that's for sure. Cause I'm the girl in the alleyway or the aisle. And I'm just like, there's like 3 baskets around me and I'm throwing stuff in. I'm like, that doesn't work. And then I have to like go put it back where I took it from. But it always starts a conversation, I will say, cause depending how many closing I have like a month, like one time I had to buy 4 closing baskets at the same time, but like I put them all together and then I put them in my cart, and people always will be in line and be like, oh my God, someone's so lucky. Like, is it someone's birthday? And then it starts a conversation in line. And I tell them I'm a real estate agent and that these are for my clients because they're buying or selling a house. And they're like, oh my God, that's so sweet. And then you just kind of slip them a card, tell them to have a nice day and enjoy their TJ Maxx experience. And then you move on and hope they call.
That's cool. That is so cool. Michelle, anything to add around that subject matter of a budget?
I'm bad with my numbers, but I know I overspend on closing gifts, but I couldn't tell you how much I spent on marketing, but it definitely depends on the client, depends on the price point. I'm like Janelle, I love closing baskets and I get comments a lot in line at TJ Maxx, Marshalls and things like that. I think gift baskets are cute and you can make the price point, add a ring camera, wine, booze, whatever to it to jazz it up. But I like those a lot. But yeah, I'm not the best person to ask on my budget.
No problem. Look, true confessions, I'm that guy. I want you, and I wish I could pull it up real quick and share your little sign on your door. Yeah. I'm going to see if I can find it real quick.
You did take a picture of it.
I think it's on my phone. Let me see if I can get it close enough.
Okay.
Can you share what you got there?
On my door?
Yeah.
I think it says something to the effect of, please don't bother me, money-making activities and process. Something like that.
Yeah. I do. I have it. Let me see if I
What
can get
does
it
it say?
big enough and clear enough.
Very professionally.
Thanks,
Done.
Scott, showing the
Yeah,
show.
really well put
There it
together.
is.
This might be difficult for some of you to do, but
Scott's got it.
Please do not disturb
you got it, Scott?
money-making activities and process.
So
Yeah.
everybody look for Scott Rose. He should be on your primary screen. Let's see if you can get it better than what I got.
He's at my,
You're close, but well, there it is, that simple piece.
I literally just ripped a piece
And
of
it
paper.
says, do not disturb, ... money making activity and process, ... Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that was polite.
I'm like, it's so cool. And so when you're in there and you close the door and you got your very professionally put together leave me alone sign, what are you doing?
Prospecting, lead generation is what I do in the morning, and just, I have to be super focused because once I get my head into it, I can bang out the phone calls and make sure, there's a lot of pieces that go to one phone call a lot of times. And if I have people coming in, talking to me and asking me this, it's not a problem. I don't mind talking and stuff like that, but sometimes I just lose track of the day, and next thing I know, it's 2:00 and it's like I made 10 phone calls. My goal is 20 a day, and I get frustrated when I don't hit that. So
Wait
I
a
just
minute.
myself.
Michelle, you're making this sound too simple. So you go in your office, you close the door, tell everybody to leave you alone, and your goal is to talk to 20 people?
20 conversations. Yep.
Wait, 20.
20, not including the deals I'm on. This is 20 new real estate conversations. One part that I didn't say about lead gen that falls into my conversations that I do is I'm constantly working on a list. I call them my VIPs. Now, these are people, attorneys, other businesses that would refer me that I like to go, like Karina does, to go break bread with, coffee, lunch, things like that. I'd much rather go and have a beer with somebody and talk about that than pick up the phone and call them. So I'm big on growing that VIP list, because somebody told me one time, if you get 50 people that you break bread with in a year and 25 of them refer you, that's 25 free deals that you're going to get with just doing stuff that you like to do. So even if you only get 10, so my goal is, I'm not quite up to 50 yet, but I will, that's my goal by the end of this year, is to have 50 people that I can break bread with that aren't realtors. Some of them are lenders. Of course, lenders, you can have breakfast, lunch, and dinner for free with those guys right now. So, but the mix of them all, sorry, hopefully there's no lenders in the background on this call, but yeah. But yeah, I think that's huge on just putting your feelers out there to other professionals that are working with people, and divorce attorneys are great. They don't, you have to schmooze them a little bit and bring trays of cookies to their offices before they'll really meet with you. But I think that's a huge part of free lead generation to build that sphere.
So Michelle, you're doing that while you're doing your business, which is really busy. So agents that don't have your volume, right?
Right.
What are they doing? Like, they should be making all those calls. And it's always like, well, who do I call? Well, who's in your sphere? What sphere? Oh, you don't have a list? Like, that's all
Think
part
outside the box. If you go get your teeth cleaned and you like the lady, be like, hey, I'd love to grab lunch with you, or chit chat about your business there, kids' sports activities. I mean, there's so many opportunities.
I just dropped off my dog to the groomer, had my C21 jacket on, and the lady walked in with her dog and she says, I see you in here all the time. I didn't know you were a real estate agent. And I have an appointment with her next week. That never happened. Yes, it does happen. It happens all the time. Like Janelle said, she's in the store doing gift baskets. What are those for? She's a real estate agent. She could have had that jacket or t-shirt on. They would have known, maybe not asked, right? So what works? It's the fact that you're doing stuff out there and you're talking about it. Don't be embarrassed about what you do for a living.
Absolutely.
And I would add to that networking groups, I got 2 leads from networking groups. Actually, this is a small networking group in Lake Orion. And, that is a good way to add to that list of 50 VIPs. And then wearing your swag, your Coldwell Banker, I totally agree with that. Like, you should be a walking billboard. Don't be a secret agent.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I really, one of the things I want to make real clear that all of us should be looking at I ask everyone, what are your 3 to 5 lead sources? What are your 3 to 5 lead sources? And if you're going, I don't know, you need to write it down. But let me give you number one, because all four, matter of fact, whenever I talk with the top producer within our company, the number one is always the sphere of influence. The way I put it, the sphere of influence is the rock upon which you build your business, and you just continue to grow your sphere of influence. So going around, what would be your top, say, 2 lead sources? Deb, for you, what are your top 2 lead sources, or 3 if you want to go there?
Well, the first one is my auto emails. That's absolutely, but the buyers, I mean, they come from all the other resources that we just talked about. I just funnel them in there and make sure they're on a search, because that is an instant conversation. That's my number one. Redfin's been really good for me. And then, you know, a couple of the seller leads I mentioned, but yeah, the networking, no, I'd say the networking group that I'm part of, that's led to my VIP list. So
Awesome. Janelle, how about for you?
My sphere of influence is definitely number one, but then, and like referrals from them. But, I would say social media helps a lot.
Coming just because of your presence out there on social media, more and more people are seeing you that you don't know.
Yeah, and I think too, like to put out who I really am and my personality. So like, I'm not trying to be somebody I'm not on there. Like you meet me and I'm exactly the same.
I like that. Yep. Knowing you and seeing you online, yep, that's the same person without doubt. Karina, how about for you?
Sphere of influence. I am also the president of my homeowners association. I get a lot of business from that. They get monthly updates, postcards. They know what I do. And honestly, the swag, I wear that swag. It's so, my husband's like, oh, another t-shirt. When did you get that? You know, it's like, I'm sorry. But yeah, people are always asking, they're interested in, and the other thing that I do that I've always done this before, but I've resurrected it. If you have a laptop, put your decal or your, you know, your logo on there. Because when you go to Starbucks or Panera or wherever, and you open up that laptop and people see what you do, they're going to ask you. They do. I've had it happen many times. So yeah, sphere of influence, the biggest, and then, just getting out there and meeting new people. I love open houses. It's a great place to meet people. I think every new agent should be doing open houses. Yeah.
I like that idea. Yeah, don't lose the simplicity. Again, everything that these 4 are talking about, so much of it is so simple that you go, that can't work. Oh, it does. And Michelle, how about for you? Your top 2, 3 lead sources?
I would say sphere of influence and social media are my top 2 for sure. And being consistent with follow-up is, you just rinse and repeat and you can't fail, pretty much.
So then combining our last conversation with what you just said, those 20 conversations that you look to hold, who is that you're making contact with?
So that's going to be my sphere. Anybody that I've met and set up on a buyer search, I like to go on my, Real Comp and see who's searching every day and look and see if there's any houses that I think might be a fit, because they think that I'm sending them all those emails, even though they're automated, and say, hey, did you see that one? I think it might be a good fit. That's a good way. I mean, that's an easy 5 to 6 phone calls a day right out of the gates. You know what I mean? And then sphere and
Fantastic.
yeah.
So guys, I have other questions that I can throw out here, but out there, what question would you guys like to ask of our 4 panelists today? That's a closing question. Somebody's supposed to say something there. Well, let me throw one out, because I look and I see a lot of experience, but I see a lot of new also. And I always love to ask this question because if I'm coaching a brand new person, here's the question that I will have. If I say, take Deb Summers out to lunch, and then here's the one question to ask her more than anything else, because you don't need to know necessarily what they're doing now, but what you need to know is what they did when they started and how they got where they are. So, guys, if you were to throw from that direction, I'm brand new or I'm looking to take my business to another level. How do I get to where you are?
I can add to that, Darwin.
Go, you're on.
All right. So one of the things, I was pretty tenacious. I was going to be successful. I just didn't know how. And I originally didn't affiliate with a great company like Coldwell Bankers, so it was even harder because our company has all right tools. So that lends itself to being successful right there. But secondly is, the people around you, the directly around you, they need to be successful and they need to feed you somewhat, like whether it's, hey, I don't have time to do this, go show this house. So whoever your top 5 people are, that's who we surround ourselves with. They need to be helping facilitate your success somehow, whether, whatever their role is. Just putting that out there.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Karina?
I agree with Deb. When I was brand new, fresh in the business, I tell this story in my office all the time. There were 3 like premier agents in our office. Like they were the queens of the office to me. And I thought, God, if they even say hi to me when I pass them in the hall, I'll be so excited. Well, one of them asked me to do an open house in the very first meeting I attended. And I thought, oh my gosh, I am somebody. I did the open house. Now, fast forward, I'm like, they wanted to unload an open house on me, right? But what they did was they taught me about an open house, showed me what it was like to be in an open house. She prepped me. She taught me, how to act, how to be, how to just treat people. And fast forward, that agent, she didn't realize she was being my mentor at the time. I was a, hungry for money kid starting in the business. And she let me help her on her CMAs. She let me show houses for her. She let me do open houses for her. And I say let me because there's a factor of trust involved in that. If you have a new agent and they don't represent what you do out there, you're probably not going to ask them to do something for you. So personally, I'm all about dress code. I'm a big proponent on that, but I was raised in that in the company. John Kirsten was all about dress code.
Yes.
So it was like, if you come in ready for business, you can take that floor call, you can go show that house for me, you can be that person. So I'm right there with Deb. Surround yourself by who you want to be, and it'll rub off on you. You'll be that person. So Ann Skronik was the person that was the key in my business, and Donna Spriza too. She was our manager at the time, and I wouldn't be where I'm at if it weren't for those 2. I say that till the day I die.
Wow. That's that, and we all ought to hope that somebody will say that about us. It's, give back. And guys, look at it from what Karina just said. They let me do this. That's huge. Deb, you're going to add?
Yeah, I just want to add, Darwin, that when I joined Coldwell Banker, you were the manager of the office, and you were a great influence over me. Because compared to where I had come from, the other brokerages, and the contrasted difference, I already knew that I was going to be more successful. So, that is just the people you surround yourself with is huge emphasis on that. So good job, Darwin.
Michelle, what would you add on this one?
I think to be successful, having a mentor or coach is huge and mandatory to keep you from straying away and having, days where you don't want to hit the ground running. I think having a coach really helps guide you in the right direction. So beginner, new, I think finding a coach is really the most important.
Yeah, and if you can't afford, let's say you can't afford one-on-one right now. I understand that because some of us get in by the proverbial skin on our teeth. Then look to group coaching. Okay. Well, maybe I can't afford $100 for 3 months. Okay. great. Then use your mentor, use your manager, use other people in the office, like what Deb and Karina just said. There's people that want to see you successful and they'll give you time. That's kind of fair with also adding on to what you said. Would you say, Michelle?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think if money is an object and you can't, have the extra money to spend on coaching or anything like that, then just being around people, getting in the office. If you're new and you're not in the office every single day from 9 to 5, what are you doing? Just sit next to somebody and listen to them. I mean, just hearing people's tones on how they handle. I started off my first year, I was a buyer. First 5 years in my business, I was a buyer's agent, only could handle buyers. This was my first year that I really hit the ground running and figured out I didn't even have a listing presentation until last May. And now I feel like I can actually compete for listings, and that falls along with coaching. And, but I totally yeah, totally lost the train of thought, but.
Can I add, that just made me think of something. I put together a portfolio that is, hard copy, not digital, that I bring with me. And when I'm doing a listing presentation and it has some photos of listings and my words, whatever in it, that's a really huge tactile thing that you can share in a lot of different, arenas. So.
Absolutely. Janelle, how about for you?
For starters, get a hard notebook, a hard one though, and then bring that everywhere you go. And I think too, like, be in the office every day if you're able to be in there, and bring that notebook every single spot that you go, and listen to everyone's conversations and listen to how they talk, or like be like, hey, why did you say that, or what's going on? And no one cares. And I did that all the time. I went everywhere with a notebook. I still go everywhere with a notebook. I have a notebook right here. Like, I go everywhere with a notebook. It just is how I am. Yep. And then I would say, don't focus on the money. Do not look at, I still don't focus on the money. I don't look and see what I am ever going to make until it gets to closing. And if you don't focus on the money, you dibble and dabble in everything. You'll take the $10,000 sale, you take the $1 million sale. You treat each of those sales the exact same way, because that's how you're going to get stuff in the long run from there. And then, like, don't let it go to your head when things are going great, and they are doing it, but don't ever let it get to your head. And then just like do the right thing, and just know that you're going to do the right thing. And if you do the right thing, the money is going to come.
I'll tell you, I would share that same. It was like an epiphany, only for me, it was out of frustration. Then pardon me, but it was, screw it. I'm just going to go do it. And when I quit worrying about the money started coming. And I think a big part of that was when we realize that it isn't about us. It's about the people whom we have the privilege to be able to serve. It's an opportunity. And so if we simply serve, if we give, and we take care of what people want and what they need, look, you're going to be the person. It's really, where's your heart? And if your heart is on the money, it's really difficult to get somebody to say yes to you, because then it's not about them.
And your reputation is going to be with you for the rest of your life. Money comes and goes, but your reputation is the only thing you have.
Yeah, working
You're
with
gonna add to that.
integrity. I mean, today's situation is a classic example of that. We went and did a final walkthrough real quick. Yesterday, the house is serviced by a well, and we had no water pressure. I'm like, well, something's wrong, right? What do we do? And they said, we're not closing. This is a $525,000 house. What do you mean you're not closing? That was what my inside said. But my outside said, let's figure out what's going on with the well. We had three plumbers out there and a well guy this morning. I didn't just all of a sudden know 3 well guys or 3 plumbers and a well guy. That was something we build, right? We have the list within the company for resources. If you need somebody, there's a list of resources. So if you are new, build those resources, get your plumbers and electricians and all the contractors, so that when you are working, you can be like what Janelle says, and Michelle and Deb, you then have that integrity, because they're going to come to you as that trusted advisor to say, hey, thinking about renovating my bathroom. Do you know a plumber? Sure, I know a plumber. Is that going to turn into a sale in 6 months? Maybe not. But when they are asked, who did your work? Oh, my real estate agent told me about this plumber. You know a real estate agent? Boom. That's how you get people to come to you. It is about integrity and trust and just looking, it's not about just the money, and it's not about every person you talk to isn't going to turn into a sale, but every person you talk to is going to get you one step closer to the sale.
So guys, it's amazing how quickly 1 hour goes. I know that whenever I think about this, I'm like, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to fill an hour on this subject matter? And I know even my panelists, when I ask them to take part, they start worrying, well, am I going to have enough to be able to say, to share? And again, I've used all 4 of these ladies previously. And in the end, I know that they have even more that they'd love to share. Karina, if I'm right, you're on with me next month for the work on the sphere of influence. So next month's deep dive, again, it's a second Tuesday. That will be on the sphere of influence. And I will announce who our other panelists will be with that. But I look for those that I know have the expertise and that they do things over and above, that they just excel at it. So Karina is definitely going to be on the panel with us next month. I appreciate all of you. To Deb, Janelle, Karina, and Michelle, guys, if you would give them that silent applause, right? We appreciate you, love you guys. Thank you again for participating. And next week, know that we're going to have it's a 1 hour hot topic Tuesday. And it's just, we want to take a look at what's coming with our purchase agreement. For some of you, it's what's out there, and answer any questions that you may have regarding that paperwork. So give yourself 1 hour for next week's hot topic. That's going to be on all of our paperwork. Now, you know what to do. Go talk to people. See y'all.